Closing all your programs might make your computer faster. Macs don't get viruses. You should always let your phone battery drain completely before charging. If you've believed any of these tech facts, I've got some news for you. They're all wrong. I'm Ross Whitmore from Northern Technology Services here in Petoskey, Michigan, and today we're busting the most persistent tech myths that just won't die. Think of this as Mythbusters, but instead of explosions, we're exploding misconceptions about your everyday technology. Now, over the past 10 years, helping Northern Michigan businesses with their technology, I've heard every tech myth in the book. Some are harmless, some are outdated advice that used to be true, and some are actually harmful to your devices. So let's separate fact from fiction once and for all. Myth 1. Closing programs makes your computer faster. This is probably the most persistent myth in computing, and it drives me crazy because it's actually backwards in most cases. Now, the myth says close all your programs when you're not using them to free up memory and make your computer faster. The reality, modern operating systems are normally really good at managing memory. Now, when you close a program, your computer doesn't just forget about it. It has to reload everything from scratch the next time you open it. And that actually uses more resources than just leaving it running. So here's what actually happens. Your computer keeps frequently used programs in memory, so they start faster. Unused memory is wasted memory. Your computer wants to use available RAM efficiently. Constantly opening and closing programs creates more work, not less. Now, the exception, if a specific program is misbehaving or using excessive resources, then yes, close it. But don't think close everything just because you think it helps. Your computer can be a little bit smarter than you think. So myth 2, Macs don't get viruses. So this myth was sort of true 15 years ago, but it's dangerously false today. The myth says Mac computers are immune to viruses and malware because of their superior security design. The reality, Macs absolutely can and do get malware. As Macs became more popular, cybercriminals started targeting them a little more frequently. Now, the security through this is a mouthful. Security through obscurity that protected Macs that had 3% market share doesn't work when they have 15% market share. What's actually true, Macs have some built-in security advantages, like better permission systems and code signing requirements. But they're not bulletproof, and Mac users often have worse security habits because they believe they're invulnerable. We've helped several businesses in northern Michigan clean malware off of Mac computers, as a matter of fact. And the infections were often worse because the users had no antivirus protection and they didn't recognize the warning signs. Now, you should completely drain your battery before charging. Myth number 3. This myth refuses to die even though the technology it was based on disappeared over a decade ago. The myth says you should let your phone or your laptop battery drain completely to zero before charging to maintain battery health. The reality, modern lithium-ion batteries actually prefer partial charging cycles. Draining them to zero regularly can actually damage them and is going to reduce their lifespan. So now here's the science. Old nickel-cadmium batteries from the 1990s had a memory effect, where partial charging could reduce capacity. Lithium-ion batteries work completely different and don't have this problem. What you should actually do is charge your devices whenever it's convenient, keeping them between 20 to 80% when possible, avoid extreme temperatures, and don't worry about overcharging. Modern devices stop charging when the battery is full. Myth 4. More megapixels means better photos! This myth has convinced people to buy cameras and phones based on megapixel counts alone, often leading to disappointment. The myth says higher megapixel cameras actually take a better photo. The reality, megapixels only determine how large you can print a photo, not how good it looks. So a 12 megapixel camera with a good lens and sensor will take much better photos than a 48 megapixel camera with cheap components. What actually matters for photo quality, lens quality, sensor size, image processing software, lighting conditions, and photographer skills. Megapixels are just one small part of the equation. For most people, anything over 12 megapixels is overkill unless you're printing billboard-sized photos. Focus on other camera features like low light performance, image stabilization, and, well, ease of use. Myth 5. Private browsing makes you anonymous. This is a dangerous myth that gives people false confidence about their online privacy. The myth says using private or incognito browsing mode makes your internet activity anonymous and untraceable. The reality, private browsing only prevents your browser from saving history, cookies, and form data locally. Your internet provider, the websites you visit, your network administrator, still can see everything you do. What private browsing actually does is prevents local history storage. It doesn't save cookies after you close the browser, it doesn't save form data or passwords, and it gives you a clean slate with each session. So what it doesn't do is hide your activity from your internet provider, make you anonymous to websites, prevent tracking by advertisers, or protect you from malware. For actual privacy, you need additional tools like VPNs. But even those aren't perfect anonymity solutions. Myth 6. Expensive HDMI cables provide better picture quality. This myth has made cable manufacturers millions of dollars selling overpriced cables to unsuspecting consumers. The myth says premium HDMI cables with gold connectors and special shielding provide a better picture and sound quality. The reality, HDMI is a digital signal. It either works perfectly or it doesn't. There's no slightly better with digital signals. A $5 HDMI cable will provide exactly the same picture quality as a $50 cable, assuming both are properly made. What actually matters is cable length. Longer cables may need better construction, build quality. Cheap cables might break more easily. And HDMI version. Newer versions support higher resolutions and frame rates. But for picture quality, a working cable is, well, a working cable. So save your money, buy the basic cable that meets your length and version requirements. Myth 7. You need to defragment your hard drive regularly. This myth is a perfect example of advice that used to be true, is now outdated and, well, potentially harmful. The myth says you should defragment your hard drive monthly to maintain optimal performance. The reality, if you have a modern computer with an SSD or a solid-state hard drive, defragmentation is not only unnecessary, it can actually reduce the lifespan of your drives. Windows automatically handles optimization for SSDs differently. Here's what's actually true. Traditional hard drives, HDDs, can benefit from an occasional defragmentation, but Windows 10 and 11 do this automatically in the background. SSDs don't fragment the same way and use different optimization techniques. How to check? Go to defragment and optimize drives in your Windows settings. And if your drive shows as a solid-state drive, don't manually defragment it. If it shows as a hard disk drive, Windows is probably optimizing it already. Myth 8. More bars, faster internet. This myth confuses signal strength with internet speed, leading to frustration when your full bar's Wi-Fi is still slow. The myth says more bars, stronger cell signal automatically means faster internet speeds. The reality, signal strength and internet speed not related. Take that back. They are related, but they are not the same thing. You can have the perfect signal strength but still have slow internet due to network congestion, bandwidth limitations, or server issues. What signal strength actually tells you how well your device can communicate with the router, access point, or cell tower, not how fast your internet connection is. Think of it like volume in a conversation. You can hear someone clearly with a strong signal, even if they're speaking slowly, slow data speed. Now for faster internet, check your internet plan speed. Test your actual speed. Use speedtest.net. Consider your router's age and capabilities and check for network congestion during peak hours. Myth 9. Leaving your computer on 24/7 wears it out faster. This myth also comes from old advice about mechanical components that doesn't apply to modern computers. The myth says leaving your computer on all the time will burn out components faster than turning it off when not in use. The reality, modern computers are designed to run continuously. The thermal cycling from turning on and off actually creates more stress on the components than steady operation. Server computers, they run 24/7 for years without issues. Now, what's actually true is computers generate heat when running, but they're designed for it. Power cycling, turning it off and on, creates a thermal expansion and contraction that can stress components. Sleep mode gives you the best of both worlds, a quick wake up with minimal power consumption. Now, for business computers, we actually recommend leaving them on for remote maintenance and monitoring. Our managed clients computers stay on 24/7, and we see no increase in hardware failures. Myth number 10. Free antivirus. It's just as good as paid. This myth Partially true, but misses some important nuances, especially for business use. The myth says free antivirus software provides the same protection as paid versions. The reality, free antivirus software provides basic protection against known threats, but paid versions offer advanced features like behavioral analysis, email protection, web filtering, and business management tools. For personal use, free antivirus may just be what you need. But for business use, the advanced features and paid solutions are essential. Things like centralized management, detailed reporting, and integration with other security tools. At NTS, we use enterprise-grade security solutions like ThreatDown because they provide the management reporting capabilities we need for business environments. The cost difference is minimal compared to the potential costs of a security breach. So now, the bonus myth. Tech support will judge you for your problems. Okay, this last one is personal, because I hear this concern all the time. The myth says IT professionals will judge you or think you're stupid for having basic computer problems. The reality is, we've seen everything, and I mean everything. Your problem's not unique, embarrassing, or stupid. We're here to help, not to judge. Trust me, we've seen computers held together with duct tape, passwords on sticky notes attached to monitors, mice that don't work because they're covered in sandwich crumbs. Your issue is probably pretty tame by comparison. Good IT professionals understand that technology should work for you, not against you. If something is confusing or frustrating, that's often a design problem and not a user problem. Your myth-busting action plan. Here's how to avoid falling for tech myths in the future. When you hear tech advice, ask yourself, is this from a reliable source? Does this make logical sense? Is this advice current or could it be outdated? Check multiple sources before making major changes to your technology setup. And when in doubt, ask a professional. That's what we're here for. And remember, if tech advice sounds too good to be true, like this one weird trick will double your internet speed, it probably is. So, with that said, look, technology is complicated enough without having to worry about outdated advice and persistent myths. The goal is to make your technology work better for you, not to follow arbitrary rules that don't actually help. The next time someone tells you that you need to restart your router every day or that clearing your cache will just solve all your problems, you'll know better. And if you're not sure whether something is fact or fiction, just ask. And if you have questions about any of these myths or if you've heard other tech advice that just sounds suspicious, feel free to reach out. Contact Northern Technology Services at 844-959-5040 or visit ntsmanaged.com. We love helping people separate tech fact from tech fiction. And stay tuned as we dive into some more videos. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching on Tech Tips, and remember, the best tech advice is the advice that actually works in the real world, and not just a theory. So thanks for watching. You have a great day.